Hi guys, how you going? It's Campbell here from Autodidactic channel. Hope you're having an amazing day. And as always, guys, autodidactic means to be self-educated. And in these days, guys, we need to be self-educated because the stuff that's going on around in high business and high government is not on. All right, so I just wanted to put my bit in about the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga that's going on at the moment. Now this could turn into something that's really huge. This could bring down a lot of people. There is a lot of evidence out there, but obviously not much of it, none of it's been released yet. So we've just got to hope that it hasn't all been destroyed because yeah, Jeffrey Epstein. There's a lot more to this story, obviously, than we get from the media. And there's questions around, was he even a billionaire? How did he make his money? What was he doing? All this kind of stuff. So let's just get into it. All right, so this is Bloomberg, mystery around Jeffrey Epstein's fortune and how he made it. Okay, so basically what it talks about is, in a neighborhood of millionaires and billionaires close to New York's famous Museum Mile, two initials discreetly adorn the entrance of one of the city's most opulent mansions, JE. So that's Jeffrey Epstein's house. Or it was. I'm not sure who owns it now. But basically, if you read down, obviously, all we know about Epstein, if you think about it, is he just came to the public attention for being busted for being a pedophile, and apparently he was a rich and famous billionaire, but there's a lot more behind this. Basically what it looks like is he was procuring underage girls for the elite, the wealthy elite, the politically elite. All these kind of elites were using his house as just a party house with young girls, basically. So according to his lawyers, more than a decade ago, he had a net worth in excess of 9 figures. So today, so little is known about Epstein's current business or clients that the only things that can be valued with any certainty are his properties. A Manhattan mansion is estimated to be worth at least $77 million, according to federal documents. He also has properties in New York, Paris, US Virgin Islands, Private Island, Palm Beach Estate, blah, blah, blah. Now, a bit about his earlier career. Epstein's early career is better documented. Born in 1953 and raised in Brooklyn, Epstein attended Cooper Union and NYU's Current Institute, but left both without a degree. Then he landed a gig teaching calculus and physics. Okay, he doesn't have a degree, and he's teaching calculus and physics at Manhattan's exclusive Dalton School between 1973 and 1975. Now, that is just strange. According to a 2002 New York Magazine profile where his students included the son of Bear Stearns chairman Alan Greenberg. So there we go. He then joined Bear Stearns in 1976 as a lowly junior assistant to a floor trader. In a swift rise trading options, he made partner, I guess that's within 4 years, made partner 4 years later with former Chief Executive Officer Jimmy Kane praising his skills. He left in 1981 to set up J. Epstein & Co., but one bank executive said he remained close to Kane and Greenberg and was a client until Bear Stearns' demise. And it goes on, Epstein's money management business had an exclusive focus. It would serve only billionaires. Epstein reportedly made all the investment calls. Now, this is a guy without a degree who's he's taught calculus for 2 years. Suddenly he's got a job, for the father of one of his students, a job, with one of his students' fathers. In 4 years, he's made partner in a big, expensive, multi-million-dollar company. And then since the 1990s, the company has been incorporated into the US Virgin Islands. It is now called Financial Trust Co. This is the company that he started, serving only billionaires. Then it says the main client was Wexner, the founder of underwear maker L Brands. Epstein started managing his money in the 1980s, and a 2003 Vanity Fair profile noted the pair had a close relationship, close enough for Epstein to acquire the Manhattan mansion from Wexner. Okay, so the deal is that mansion that's worth $77 million, this Les Wexner gave it to him. He gave it to him, didn't sell it to him, he gave it to him. It's here, it says it's unclear how much Epstein paid, and when he actually took ownership, he didn't pay anything, and I'll show you that later. But basically, yeah, so he's come from nowhere. He's suddenly gone up in the finances. He's been taken under the wings of Alan Greenberg and then this Les Wexner guy. And Wexner, who has a $6.7 billion fortune on the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. All right, so this is Jeffrey Epstein in the 70s at teaching. So this is actually from the school, a picture from the school book. Jeffrey Epstein, math science teacher. Mr. Epstein in the 1975 yearbook of the Dalton School. Okay, so it says in the mid-1970s, students at one of New York's most esteemed prep schools were surprised to encounter a new teacher who pushed the limits on the school's strict dress code, wandering the halls in a fur coat, gold chains, and an open shirt that exposed his chest. The teacher, Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, would later face allegations for trafficking teenagers for sex. At the Dalton School of the Upper East Side, some students saw Mr. Epstein as unusual and unsettling, willing to violate the norms in his encounters with girls. 8 former students who attended the prestigious school during Mr. Epstein's short tenure there said that his conduct with teenage girls had left an impression that lingered for decades. One former student recalled him showing up at a party where students were drinking, while most remember his persistent attention on the girls in the hallways and classrooms. So, okay, this is the mid-70s. He's a teacher. He's hitting on all the young girls who's, at the school where he's teaching. And one of the fathers there, who's Alan Greenberg, one of the fathers of the student, decides to give him a job. And within 4 years, he's a partner. And then he goes off. He meets Les Wexner, is that what I said? And who's a billionaire, and then suddenly he's given, a mansion in the middle of New York, and he's on his way up. So the strange connection between Victoria's Secret's billionaires and Jeffrey Epstein. From alleged sex schedulers to temple-like structures on his private island, Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking case is rife with strangeness. That strangeness is compounded further when one takes a look at Epstein's finances and how he amassed his fortune. Despite his reported worth of more than $500 million, the only known client of J. Epstein and Co., Epstein's money management firm, is Les Wexner, the billionaire founder of L Brands, which is Victoria's Secrets as well. Prosecutors do not know how Epstein made and continues to make his money. Okay. This is all about, blah, blah, blah. The marks of Epstein, Wexner is nearly 35-year professional relationship. While it's unclear whether the two first met, Epstein and Wexner have been business partners since the late 1980s, when the latter hired Epstein to manage his fortune under somewhat mysterious circumstances. In a New York Magazine article written in 2002, someone close to Epstein said, "It's just not typical for someone of such enormous wealth to all of a sudden give his money to some guy most people haven't heard of." According to Wexner, he severed his ties with Epstein following Epstein's original sexual assault charges, removing his trustee status at the Wexner Foundation. Still, it stands to reason that the two were close, as Wexner is the former owner of Epstein's Upper East Side residence. It appears the residence was a gift. Outside of his management of Wexner's money, however, little is known about how Epstein has amassed his fortune. And who he invests with. According to Enrique Diaz Alvarez, Chief Risk Officer at Ebury, he doesn't know and hasn't heard of anyone who has ever worked with Epstein's firm. So, what's going on here? You know, what it sounds like is he's just being paid by these rich financiers, basically to procure young girls for them. You know, he wasn't a financier at all. He was doing another job for them, and he's been painted as like the brains of the operation, but I don't think he was. I think he was just a fall guy. He was set up. He was the guy who, it wasn't very smart. They gave him all this money, all these, you know, houses around the world and planes and cars, and let him do what he wanted. And what he wanted to do was get young girls, and that's what he did for them, for all these elite pedophiles. Let's keep going. Excuse me. Tracing Epstein's past has proven difficult for members of the media due to the lack of information. You know, so he's you know, all his stuff's been hidden because he's working for these, you know, elites. What's clear is that he dropped out of college and was given a job teaching math at the prestigious Dalton School, where Attorney General William Barr's father, Donald Barr, was headmaster. There you go. From 1964 to 1974, which is when he started. Epstein's former students have accused him of acting inappropriately. He would even reportedly show up at students' parties, blah, blah, blah. Luckily for Epstein, however, one of his students was the son of Bear Stearns chairman Alan Ace Greenberg. Now, is there a bit more down here? Must be the next one. Let's have a look at this. So this is more about, you know, this is this Les Wexner guy. And who was Les Wexner? Oh, I do have him somewhere. He was basically, yeah, he's a Jewish billionaire. And this is all about saying how he's not really involved. And then you get down at the bottom and it says, prosecutors want to seize the Upper East Side mansion according to an indictment. Unsealed shortly after the arrest, the home was one of several sites where the Epstein sexual exploited and abused dozens of minor girls, and a raid by investigators uncovered hundreds and perhaps thousands of sexually suggestive photos, including some that appeared to be of underage girls. So this is what was happening at this house that was given to him by Les Wexner, that was valued at his death at worth $77 million. Records also indicate that no money was exchanged in the transaction for the house. So this is a house. At the time, Epstein told the paper that the home was his, though property records show that the deed wasn't officially transferred until December 2011. Records also indicate that no money was exchanged in the transaction. Now, this is December 2011, so that's after his first sexual, arrest for, sexual allegations. And this Les Wexner guy said that he severed all ties with him, and then he gave him a house worth millions and millions of dollars. Okay, so this, this is how we're lied to, guys. This is all crap. This is why you need to be self-educated. These guys are all pedophiles, and basically this Epstein guy was grabbed by these elites. He was procured into, the guy who was going to, basically run their underage brothels and their sex trafficking business for all the elite pedos. And he was given all these houses and all this money. And it says in 1963, though, Wexner started the business with $5,000 loan from his aunt, opening a single store called Limited, which bucked the department store model, blah, 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 focusing on fast-moving pieces like pants and blouses. A decade in, he operated 41 stores and was moving $26 million worth of clothing a year. So that's not bad. And of course, just keep in mind that what he's making underwear, he's making all this sort of stuff that, is trickling down to young girls who are now walking around with, bikinis, which are basically G-strings. This is all this guy's business. So they're not good people. This is just a bit on Bear Stearns. It was just created by 3 people, basically. One of them was Joseph Bear. Alright, so this is one of the founders of Bear Stearns, Joseph Ainsley Bear. He was born to a Jewish family on May 28, 1878 in Louisville, Kentucky. He was educated in France, Germany and Switzerland. So this is a rich elite family because this would have been early 1900s. He worked at the bond trading firm J.J. Danzig, where he met Harold C. Mayer and Robert B. Stearns. They founded Bear Stearns with $500,000 in capital. Now, in 1923, how much do you reckon $500,000 in capital was? That three, college students could pull together to start their first business with. It's $7,432,928.99 in today's money. So, these guys were elites who started this. Then, obviously, it got sold out. Greenberg, Alan Greenberg, and stuff. Got involved, and these are all of the same ilk. These people. They're all basically Zionists, and they're all out for themselves and not for us. And they're all pedophiles, and they run the financial systems, as we know, the military systems, the religious systems. And there is more to this story too, which I want to get into as far as the elites and that. But just to finish off with, saw a video from Max Eigen yesterday. I can't remember what the name was. I'll put the link below though. It's worth a watch. He's a very, very good researcher if you haven't heard of him. Now, he on his video, he left this link, and I thought I'd just share it with you guys. I'll leave all the links to all these articles below. Mega Group, Maxwell's and Mossad's, the spy story at the heart of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. So, as billion pedophile and alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein sits in prison, so this is obviously written while he was still alive, reports have continued to surface about his reports links to intelligence, his financial ties to several companies and charitable foundations, and his friendships with the rich and powerful as well as top politicians. The Jeffrey Epstein scandal, too big to fail, have focused on the widespread nature of decisions in recent American history and their ties to the heights of American political power and the US intelligence community. One key aspect of Epstein's own sex trafficking and blackmail operation that warrants examination is Epstein's ties to Israel intelligence and his ties to the informal pro-Israel philanthropist faction known as the Mega Group. So the Mega Group's role in the Epstein case has garnered some attention as Epstein's main financial patrons for decades. Billionaire Leslie Wexner was the co-founder of the group that unites several well-known businessmen with a penchant for pro-Israeli ethno-philanthropy. That is, philanthropy benefiting a single ethnic or ethno-religious group. So basically, they founded this group just to raise money only for Israeli people, for Jews. However, as report will show, another uniting factor among Mega Group members is deep ties to organised crime, specifically the organised crime network disguised in part 1 of this series, which was largely led by notorious American mobster Meyer Lansky. So these are the kind of people that Les Wexner has put together for his mega group to raise money for Jews. By virtue of the role of many mega group members as a major political donors in both the US and Israel, several of its most notable members have close ties to the governments of both countries as well as their intelligence communities. As this report and subsequent reports will show, the mega group also had close ties with two businessmen who worked for Israel's Mossad, Robert Maxwell and Mark Reich, as well as top Israeli politicians, including past and present prime ministers with deep ties to Israel's intelligence community. So this is deep. This is who these guys are. This is who this Les Wexner is, who basically was funding Epstein, gave him a house. He was his only client. So basically what that meant is Epstein, this Wexner guy was just paying Epstein, just giving him money. Epstein wasn't doing any work for him. It was just a front. And it just keeps going, and Epstein appears to have ties with Israeli intelligence and has well-documented ties to influential Israeli politicians and the mega group. Yet those entities are not isolated in and of themselves, as many also connect to other organized crime networks and powerful alleged pedophiles discussed in previous installments of this series. So, like I said, I'll leave the link here, the part 1 and part 2 that you can read, and this goes right into it, guys. As a lot of you know, the world is run by pedophiles, David Icke was talking about this 10 years ago at least, and he was just being ridiculed, and now it's, you'd have to be, how can you ignore it? It's everywhere, Prince Andrew, the grand old Prince of York, he's a pedo too. All the royals are, all the royal families around the world are. It's a Zionist agenda, and basically they've got into all the power structures, financial, military, education and academia, religion, everything, and the people at the top are all pedos. And these groups are set up, excuse me, as it said, to raise money just for Jewish people, which is probably means just for Zionist Jewish people, so they can just get more and more wealth and take it away from the public. And the way they do it is they set up these financial scams, which is what they are, and they just steal money from people. And at the same time, they're just pedos, and they're running these pedophile houses. There's a nice picture of people coming out of it. President-elect Trump walked with Ronald Lauder after meeting at Mar-a-Lago, December in Palm Beach. So this guy, no doubt, is part of the mega group. But this is, everyone's tied in, If you think there's good politicians and bad politicians, then, I would say do a bit of research on that, because, show me a politician that's actually done good for the people, that show me a political party or politician that hasn't introduced laws that are detrimental to our freedoms and our rights. They all do it, and then once laws are enacted, that they never ever are enacted. They're never taken away. The only thing taken away is our freedoms and our rights, and it's happening everywhere. But these guys, they're exposed, guys. We can jump on this. This needs to be shared, this kind of stuff, especially this article here. Share it around, guys, because even people who love the royals are now starting to scratch their heads going, oh, Prince Andrew, because that interview, if you haven't seen that interview that he did, that was just amazing. He's just so guilty. But as you can see, this is a big, long article. It's very in depth, so have a read of it. That's some of these guys with a group of girls at a school that they're, supposedly giving money to. This is how they get in, guys. Origins of the mega group mafia. This goes way back. And they're all organized crime. They're all Zionists. And they're all the rich and powerful. This is what's happening, guys. We live in a world run by pedos. So it's time to stop this stuff. It's time to get real. It's time to wake up. It's 2019. And this stuff is in our face now. I remember reading this, this kind of stuff. I remember sharing information back, in the day, back 10 years ago. Back then it was just stuff like banking, and how the banking system is corrupt, and how finance, money's not backed by anything, and people would go, people would lose their minds. Like, I would just get abused and insulted for saying this stuff, 10 years ago, and now it's all over, everyone knows it. Everyone knows it, and it's the same with pedos. It's coming out there, and once we understand these people are preying on our children, I hope that's enough to wake people up to some action, because we need to. Times are changing and the energies are changing, but we also still need to stand up and take action and make different and better decisions. All right, guys, bit of a rant there. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't focus too much on what's bad in the world. Focus on how we can make the world better, because I've seen, you don't want to focus on what's bad. You want to know what's bad and then focus on solutions and how we can fix it. Alright guys, have an amazing day. As always, stay autodidactic because self-education is the way forward, and I shall catch you on the next upload. Bye for now.